In this episode we're going to be looking at the Sega Saturn, one of the most underrated consoles of all time. With 1,270 titles, most of them Japanese, and a host of accessories, again most of them Japanese, now we're looking at the depths of this 32-bit monster. Before we do, let's go out to the arcade room, into the workshop, and open up this thing. We're at the arcade room, where I'm going to use the new workshop for the first time. Someone's left the machines on, so I've got to turn them off and get into this. It's a racket in here. Okay, so this is the first grey model Saturn. And you'll see at the back here, there's a slot that open for a MP card to allow it to play obviously VCDs and MP compatible stuff. Also, I think it viewed JPEGs from memory. Anyway, we'll get opening it. The second model Saturn was white with circular on and off button and eject button, and they also dumped an LED disc reading light, as opposed to this one which had a green light and a red light for the disc read. Okay, it's held together by 5 normal screws. Now, interesting enough, the Sega Saturn was actually the 7th platform for Sega, and therefore Saturn being the 7th planet in our solar system, and that's why Sega named it that. That's just a little interesting fact. We've got all the screws out. Something's holding it in. Aha! Just one at the back here. I think that's the one. Yeah. Okay. Just unplug the drive light. You'll see the power supply is mounted actually on the top of the lid. We'll unclip that power. Now, what I will show you towards the end of the episode is the arcade version of the Saturn. I won't go into that at the moment, but that's it there. What we'll do, take off the lid, just look for some clippers. Okay, so that's the top of it. The power supply, on and off. Now, that's the JVC CD drive. This would have to be one of the strongest CD drives of any console I've ever come across. I've repaired quite a few, but none as strong as the Saturn. It's superior to anything. It's got heaps of adjustments to adjust laser pitch, the brightness of the laser, the strength, everything. It's really good. So what we'll do now, we'll actually remove the drive. That's obviously the data cable that goes to the drive. I'm just going to remove the shielding of the Saturn. The Saturn was actually released 1 week before the PlayStation. And in Japan, I've heard rumours of the Saturn in the first 6 months selling out the PlayStation 8 to 1. But a lot of people say it's about 3 to 5. So, you know, it depends who you listen to. But yeah, it was actually a big seller at the start, and mainly in Japan. And the sales died off obviously because PlayStation getting exclusive rights to games like Final Fantasy and having big blockbusters like Gran Turismo and Metal Gear Solid. Okay, so they're your two 32-bit RISC chips. And basically all your other processors. Now, don't ask me what they're all for. They're mainly your RAM chips. And that's it. That's the first version of the Saturn. This was in the first 10,000, this unit. Some very rare Saturns actually have a fan built in. Oh, we're back at the games room. Before we look at the 2 exclusive Sega Saturn games we're going to review, we're going to have a look at some of the accessories. To kick it off, this here is a King of 95's ROM cart. Now, this one here, you're plonking the Sega Saturn in the back where the RAM card goes to save your games and etc. And what it does is assist loading times. Basically has most of the game information on there, and the CD carries most of the music and maybe a bit of the program. So that's one of the first carts I think that actually come on the Saturn. Then SNK released this. It's a 1 meg RAM cart, and that's for mainly for the SNK games such as King of Fighters 96, 97, so on, Metal Slug. And that also assisted in loading times because most of the program will be obviously loaded on the cart, and off you go. Then Capcom done something similar. They released a 4 meg RAM cart. Now, this still does not mean you don't need the 1 meg RAM cart to play the Neo games, because using this, the graphics or sometimes the CDs will get error if you use a 4 meg RAM cart on SNK games. Sorry to confuse you there, but that's how it is. This actually comes as a packing with some Capcom games like this X-Men vs Street Fighter pack, and Dungeons and Dragons and Vampire Savior. A lot of the Capcom games started to use this, cut down loading times, and would have a lot up on the PlayStation 1 versions of these games. Okay, next, what's the other accessory we'll look at is the Virtual Cop gun. Now this is the Japanese version of Virtual Cop. And this is part 1, yep. This is a part 1. The gun was completely black. On part 2, I won't worry about showing it to you, but it actually had a Sega Saturn sticker in yellow to make it differ from a real gun, I'm sure. America, Europe, Australia, they actually all got either red, orange or blue guns. I even think some countries had a pink gun. Yeah, so that's that. One of my favourite accessories on the Sega Saturn would have to be Virtual-On Twin Sticks. Just move this down. Yeah, it's a big favourite. Feels exactly like the arcade, and if you love Virtual-On, you must have these sticks. They also come on the Dreamcast, and they're a must-have. And what people may not know is games like Gundam Side Story 2 and 3 were compatible with the twin sticks. And the ever popular Gun Griffin 2 was also compatible with the twin sticks. Now, adding up this and this makes Gun Griffin a whole lot better. It does feel a bit weird at the start, but once you're used to it, it's a must-have. So if you ever find some twin sticks, make sure you grab Gun Griffin, obviously in Virtual-On. Now we're going to look at some other things. No matter how successful or unsuccessful a console is, every console has gems. For example, Sega Mega Drive. Can you imagine that without Sonic? And today we're going to look at the Sega Saturn Gems. Now, due to having the whole collection of Sega Saturn games, I'm going to pick out 2 exclusive games that are on the Saturn that do it justice, and I like to call them gems. The first one we'll look at is Nights, or Nights into Dreams. Nights was introduced alongside an optional game controller, included with most copies of the games, called the Saturn 3D controller. This gamepad featured an analog stick, launching just before the release of the Nintendo 64, which also featured an analog stick. As you can clearly see, Sega obviously used this control pad as a template for the Dreamcast control pad. There are 2 trigger buttons, or shoulder buttons, and they're both analog as well. Okay, the next one we're going to look at is the ever popular Radiant Silver gun. Radiant Silver gun. Unlike in most shoot-em-ups, there are no power-ups. All weapons are available from the start. Weapons can be leveled up, however, becoming more powerful as the player uses them to score points. There are a selection of 7 weapons from the start, and they can be used at any given time. This game was released in 1998, pretty much at the end of the Saturn's lifespan, and also released in the arcade Sega Titan video game, also in 1998. This is a personal vertical favourite of mine, and I have to say I like it a lot more than Ikaruga. This is also coming to the Xbox Live Arcade sometime in 2011. With using all the different weapons, you can also collect the enemy's weapons, by using your Radiant Silvergun sword. Well, that's what it looks like to me. Then, after collecting a certain amount of the enemy's bullets, you can use it against them in one big clap. There's also some funny things in this game, like the hidden dogs. I don't know if I've got them all myself yet, but I've been playing this game over and over again. Even after you finish the game, you start again and your weapons keep building. I think they max out to 30 from memory. Okay, this is the STV version of Die Hard Arcade, obviously based off the Die Hard movie, the original one, number 1. Before I play it, just want to say thank you for watching, and I hope you've enjoyed looking at Saturn Gems, and we'll be doing another Saturn Gems in the future. But we've got to look at the other consoles as well. Cheerio.